I absolutely refuse to entertain even the prospect of defeat. So we're back again to the same area we were, what, 2 days ago now? 3 days ago now? On an absolutely abysmal, windy, rainy day. Definitely not the time to be out shooting large format, but here we are. Now, I won't lie. Part of that is because I want to see if Kitty's around before I get started. This is where he lives, here at the stables. Like I said, I believe he's the resident mouse catcher. Kitty. Well, I do not see Kitty. Let him go about his business. So today, back again with the X-ray film. I have 6 sheets of the Agfa green sensitive, and I found a holder in the back of the refrigerator with some film photography project. I believe it's old Fuji industrial X-ray film, and I think that's blue sensitive, if I'm not mistaken. And it's much less sensitive. I usually rate that at ISO 5, whereas I rate the Agfa at ISO 100. That's not important. What is important, I remember the tripod today. So we're going to be shooting the Toyo rotating back on old Marcus and see if that actually will cut off at the top and bottom when we go vertical. Now this video I'm calling more or less video 2.5 of that whole process, because not only have I got the video up of actually changing out the back, but it's going to end up having a full video of me testing it. And then when we figured out that that focal plane had changed so much, well, of course I just forgot it, but I forgot that the focal plane had changed so much that was throwing off the focus. So then it was going to be an entire video of me adjusting this Kalart rangefinder, which I have the original Kalart manual. It's fairly straightforward to do, and I want to show you that, so I will do a video, but that'll be its own separate thing. We don't need another 3-hour long video, do we? So anyway, I just realized I'm more or less completely off trail. I want to go revisit a couple of the places that I shot the last time on those sheets that just didn't turn out. I actually have an idea for a couple frames to make use of this wind, which is really abysmal. This camera's gonna act like a sail. But I'm also gonna go back to that area we saw that carcass, if it's still there. And then there's actually a little area across the road back here that if I don't get too trigger happy, I'm gonna try to hit that on the way out, but we'll have to park in another place and walk to it. I'm gonna shut up and get set up. Thus is the glory of photography. Let me show what I'm looking at here with little Marcus. And as I said, the wind is a major factor. Hopefully you can see that. No doubt the exposure is going to be kind of crazy with the GoPro, but with these trees swaying in the wind, I'm hoping that's going to give a nice blurred effect. We'll see. Kind of a nice picture right here. All right. Now, in terms of any kind of metering, I want to have a considerable depth, or relatively. I'm going to f8. I'm going to shoot the first one with that found x-ray film at ISO 5, and I'm more or less going to want to expose for those highlights. That's showing about 1/30th, 1/40th. I need a little bit more motion in that. At least a second's worth. So I'm really going to bump this up. Actually a lot more than f8. Let's go f22. See what that gets us. I may end up, I'm going to shoot the horizontal first, and then for the vertical we may shut that all the way down to f32. I don't know. We'll see. So I'm gonna load up a holder and wait for the next big gust. So what I've decided to cook off here is our first exposure, f22, around 3 seconds. And then I'm gonna stop that down, f32, go for the same time when we go vertical. So we'll see. Wind's been gusting all day. That's how it goes. All right, I'll switch this on when we have some actual movement. All right. I believe this is going to be our one. Yep. There it is. 1, 2, 3. All right. Dark slide back in, and we move along. When I was going through the pack there, I thought I had 4 holders. Apparently I only have 3. So that means I only have 6 sheets. So that's 2 down. Leaving this with 4. Math wizard. I don't know. I said the light. Of course now the wind comes. The light itself is abominable. I really want to do something extremely shallow depth of field. And then again, I really want to go across the highway there and make some pictures of, we'll see in a second. See, I think that's what I'm going to do. I may stop off. Actually, I'll have to park up here by it. But there's a playground up here. Of course, I'm not going to be the creepy guy with a camera. So if there's nobody there, I may do a really shallow depth of field photo of the swings. That's always kind of been on my mind when I'm here. But if not, we'll just park there, take a little trot across the road, and check out. Yeah. Well, it appears there is nobody here. So I'm going to jump out and see if we can't get a couple of frames of this little swing set here, and then actually the spot I was intending to go to originally is just right there where that car is going down the road. Yeah, let's swing. And to share just a little bit of personal introspection, I've actually had a conversation with a good friend of mine about making these kind of pictures, that is at playgrounds, that kind of thing. Of course, I walk around looking like some kind of big gorilla, but it just always makes me feel weird. Like I said, there's nobody here, and maybe it's just me, but I always feel better when this does come about randomly, using some type of, esoteric camera like this. It just makes me feel better doing it. Maybe I don't look like quite as much of a creeper. Some dude out here with a cell phone or something. But anyway, I'm gonna shut up, and I can already tell the dynamic has changed with these moving. that gives me an idea. But, you know, you'll see if it all pans out. All right, so I got the setup all ready to go here. And if you can kind of picture it, you probably see what I'm talking about already. These are all in motion, going with these two here. These little gumball things on the ground in the back. But this lens, it's gonna look really good. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not beyond giving these swings a little lateral push, you know, for the aesthetic, for the vibes. So we'll see. So I'm gonna meter up some stuff, decide exactly what I'm gonna do, and we'll go. Complete change of plan. I've switched sides, and I'm putting that tree right in the middle of those swings. I feel like this has turned into less of a test video than just an out and about composition video, but it is what it is. So anyway, switch sides, actually broke out the dark cloth. This thing is so bright, maybe the brightest ground glass I've ever used, so good for you, Toyo. And this is where that swing out is really gonna come in handy, because it's gonna let us use the old loop here. Yeah, welcome to the dark side here. I realize the GoPro is absolute shit trying to focus anything that doesn't have a hot spot under the dark cloth, but I think you get the idea. I might tip those where they'll cross, I don't know, I'll just fill it out. So as it stands, I've had to set up the Speedgraphic, old Marcus here, kind of a caddy corner to the swings. It's not perpendicular to the swing, so this one to the left is going to be thrown out of focus without a extremely large depth of field. So I've got it stopped all the way down back to f32, and I'm going to shoot for about a second. Again, this film is going to be rated at ISO 100, and of course, you know, the sun would peek out now. I'm not going to push the swings. I'm going to let them go as is. That's just enough motion. I want this to be kind of an etheric, creepy Silent Hill type of thing, because that's normal. All right, let's get going. So now I'm going to well, flip our holder first thing, but I'm going to go vertical. See how well this works without having to hold the camera. A little hard on this tripod. Yeah, we're turning the whole thing, which is fine because we've got to recompose anyway, because I really want to shoot a really shallow depth of field on that. So let me recompose and we'll get back. Well, honestly, talk about fortuity. I just parked the camera, opened the shutter back up, and I said that you can see that. But I really like that as is. The tree takes up the main 2/3 at the top of the frame. Yeah, no joke. I'm just gonna more or less gonna roll with that. So that's what we're gonna do. At f4.7. Well, absolutely zero idea how any of those are gonna turn out. But I'm going to use the last two sheets. Just a hop, skip, and a jump in the parking lot over to that clump of trees. That's sort of a little swamp area. And, you know, I love a good reflection. So I'm going to see about working with some reflections, maybe a little bit of shadows. I don't know, we'll see. If you don't get run over crossing this road, seriously, people who drive through here are fucking insane. All right, and here we are. I am 99% certain that this isn't private property, but we'll be quick nonetheless. I already tell what I'm going to shoot. Get here without killing myself. This guy right here. Probably aim right there at the water line. Two quick ones. we'll be done. People really aren't used to seeing things like Marcus here on the side of the road in Oakfield. Well, neither am I, for that matter. More or less got our composition going here. I wish that I could get closer, but things are what they are. Obviously, like I said, I'm gonna do one horizontal, flip it, do one vertical, and we'll be done. Easy enough. I really like that Graflex, but yeah. All right, let's venture back, get this developed. All right, folks, I wanted to hop into Lightroom really fast to show you an extra photo from the little outing with Marcus here, and to talk a little bit more in depth about a few of the pictures that we glanced at along the way. Now, if you haven't watched the original video, the whole reason that I was out here shooting with Marcus was to see if that Toyo rotating back, when flipped vertically, would cut off the top and bottom of the frame. I'm happy to say it does not. So if that's all you're interested in, you can just cut this off right here. I had noticed on the back the frame itself was about 5.5 by 5.5 inches. Then I got to thinking, well, that's not the shutter, which you have to have the focal plane shutter open, even for using the front copal shutter. So that's, you know, smaller than for 5.5 inches. But like I said, as it turned out, everything is fine. This is that first image that we shot completely straight up towards the canopy of these trees. Quite overexposed, but I wanted to go back and tell you what this little black spot is here at the bottom. It actually kind of freaked me out. I didn't know what it was. It turned out the little metal corner of one of the corner covers from the Toyo back came unglued and fell down onto what I assume was the film. And that's a little shadow it cast, but I have taken care of that. This is the tree photo of this, the tree and swing photo. This was shot f4.7, about 1/400th of a second, with that AGFA green x-ray film. The reason we only have one here is because the first one, for whatever reason, was grossly overexposed. That was the, underexposed. That was the one we'd shot at f32. Thought I'd metered it correctly, but that's the fun of film, isn't it? Oh, and the same goes for this picture here. I had that one holder that I thought had Film Photography Project blue sensitive Fuji x-ray film in it, which it did, but somehow, and I've never done this before, I loaded up one side of the holder with the cardboard separator. Again, first for everything. X-ray film, at least that type, is extremely thick, and I guess it just felt and looked like the x-ray film. I don't know, but we only have one of that one. This was the vertical of that one, and of course this was the vertical of the swing picture. This is not a shadow from the shutter. That's actually the top of the swing, and this right here was just part of the development issue that it went wrong. But the last two pictures we're going to look at here are the best in terms of judging whether or not that is going to cut off the top and the bottom. This is that one we walked over across the road to take a picture of the reflections here. This is the, of course, the horizontal frame. Perfectly fine. And then all we did, everything stayed the same. Just flipped that back. And as you can see here, nothing cutting off the top or the bottom, so we're in good shape there. I really am glad we came away with at least these two, because to me, they are the best representation of whether or not that back is going to cut off the top and bottom of the frame. If you're curious about getting a hold of one of these backs, I mentioned in the last video, apparently the people who I purchased this from eBay, off of eBay, they don't sell them anymore, but I'm sure that they've got to be around someplace. I know for sure you can get the Toyo rotating backs, and if you're mechanically inclined, I don't think it would be much of a problem to just engineer your own adapter if you can't find one. I hope you enjoyed this little outing, folks. Like I said, I know it kind of turned into a little bit more of a actual on-location shoot episode, but yeah, overall, really pleased. I'm glad I went ahead and made the change to this back, even though it's made quite a bit of difference in the weight and the girth of the camera, but can't have everything, so I'm going to take the trade-off. Thanks again, everybody. Bye-bye.